bro, for instance, her mom looks like a leprechaun. Short ass bitch. What you doing, niggas? Welcome to another episode of Culture Editorial. Today's topic of today's episode, we're gonna talk about petty privilege. And for those who don't know what petty privilege is basically a favorable factor, where certain people just tend to get away with a lot of bullshit. Like a nigga like you and me, we don't necessarily get away with the stuff that we do. Like, let's say if we steal something out of the shop, we're gonna get arrested, right? But people with petty privilege, they just get away with it because in the eyes of society, they can do nothing wrong, I guess.
And I'm not even joking, because when you look at society, we have different cases of people who got away with things because of their petty privilege. A famous example of this is Mr. Jeremy Meeks. Well, who is Jeremy Meeks? Jeremy Meeks is this guy. You might have seen this mugshot going around. So back in 2014, this exact mugshot went viral because of, petty privilege. What was Jeremy Meeks convicted of? Well, he was basically convicted of possession of a firearm, and he also had a separate case involving robbery and assault, and was even affiliated with the Crips. Well, all those things don't matter when you have petty privilege, because in our society, we just think, he's a good looking dude, whatever, just let him get away with it. Obviously, he served 30 months before his release in 2016. But again, this guy's mugshot caused him to get all these opportunities regarding modeling and people just contacting him because they wanted to work together with him. This mugshot did more good for him than it did bad. Could you imagine a world where someone like Jeremy Meeks was convicted of killing your mom or raping your sister and eventually getting rewarded for it, all because a few people in our society have decided that this dude is seen as attractive?
So basically, I got this story to tell. This was in high school. Let's call this school Prison High. And Prison High, as you already hear it, was literally a prison, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, in Prison High, there was this specific girl. And for this episode, we're gonna call this girl Melody. And Melody was a very manipulative, entitled, spoiled piece of shit person.
But besides the fact that this bitch Melody was a piece of shit, she was also, to my experience, a bully. And with bully, I don't necessarily mean the type of bully that we all know or see in the movies, like, Very Odd Parents or Spider-Man type of bully. No, I'm talking about the passive-aggressive bully. The type of bully that does the shit, but not necessarily in the public eye because they have this image to protect. To my experience, I would definitely say that Melody was a master manipulator, an habitual liar, a psychopath, and a covert narcissist. And you might be thinking, why are you going so far with this? Well, not only is it the truth about Melody, but it's also a truth that constantly gets denied because of what I said earlier, petty privilege. And because of petty privilege, a lot of my peers around that time, and even still to this day, don't believe anything when I say all of these things about Melody. Because when you're a girl who looks like Doja Cat or Ariana Grande, you just can't be a narcissist or you can be a manipulator. But when you're a girl who looks like Doja or Scarlett, then all of a sudden, it is believable.
When you see her, you're just thinking like, that's a sweet girl, she can do no wrong. But sometimes people got masks on and they do very covert things because they don't necessarily want to get caught doing bad things because they got this image to protect, right?
And when you're younger, you don't necessarily know about the false images and the fake personas that people put up, especially when you're a teenager and you have your hormones doing their thing. And in my case, unfortunately, I tried to shoot my shot with Melody. And the thing with shooting your shot, you don't always score, because that's part of the game. Even Messi sometimes doesn't score a goal. The same goes for Ronaldo or even more Steph Curry. It happens to the best. And as a young boy living in a Western society where having a darker skin complexion is seen as ugly or, less attractive, you have way more things to worry about than a rejection from a lighter skinned girl who automatically gets the benefit of the doubt no matter what, because we live in a society where that is the norm.
But anyways, Melody was damn near not the first girl who I've tried shooting my shot at, and she's damn near not the last girl who I've tried shooting my shot at, you know what I'm saying? But this bitch thinks she's the only on this earth, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that I hate about this entitled ass from nowadays. Like, just because you grew up in a 2-parent household and your daddy gave you everything you want doesn't necessarily that you deserve everything, you know what I'm saying? Because before Melody, I can't even count on 2 hands how many girls I tried shooting my shot with. But with this specific girl, Melody, this bitch ass nigga, she thinks she's the shit. She thinks she's the center of this world. She thinks she's the main character because probably in her childhood, her parents gave her everything that she wanted. Like, she was probably some spoiled motherfucker, just got everything that she wanted, right? When she takes an L, she takes it very, very, very personally. Like, it's like an attack on her whole existence, like an attack on her whole character, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing with these narcissistic people. They think the world revolves around them, you know what I'm saying?
And because this dumbass Melody thinks that the world revolves around her, she actually took it so personal when I started ignoring her. Like, it shook her entire existence. And obviously, me ignoring her was totally justified because at the end of the day, I'm a man, we live in a feminist society, and especially in this day and age, you don't want to be seen as a stalker, harasser, or anything in that kind of nature because, like I said, we live in a feminist society. Men kind of get the blame for everything that they do. We always get the short end of the stick, so you just mind your business.
Obviously, I stopped talking to this because why would I? Like, you're not gonna hang around a job where you apply and they reject you, right? But this bitch, like I said, she takes things very, very, very personal.
So personal to the point that this bitch actually just was harassing me, stalking me, you know, positioning herself in my orbit, following me around in school, spreading lies and rumors, starting a smear campaign, basically just talking shit in group chats, screenshotting our text conversations with the purpose to embarrass and bully me, and overall just making my time in high school very, very hard.
She was basically just being a manipulative piece of shit up until graduation of high school.
And you might be wondering why I didn't expose her behavior before. Like I said earlier, the dynamics between men and women are very different, especially in this day and age. Men are not giving the benefit of the doubt in a society dominated by feminists, and you're basically already 10 points behind, especially when you're a dark-skinned boy going up against a lighter-skinned popular girl with pretty privilege. And the fact that you have your own peers who don't believe you and give this bitch the benefit of the doubt, all because of pretty privilege, you know. And they're gonna throw you under the bus all because they wanna hit, and they're not gonna lose that opportunity for your story. They're gonna throw you under the bus. Even till this day, when I tell this story, I still occasionally hear, "Oh, but she's bad though, so it don't matter, right?" And that's the reason why pretty privilege is so dangerous. You have people who don't think with logic and do anything in their power to impress these type of people.
Anyways, fast forward a few years later, I walk around in the neighborhood, do my thing, you know, listen to my Playboy Cardi, listen to my Lil Uzi Vert, listen to my whatever the fuck I was listening to, right? Little did I know, I saw a little ass girl from afar. I didn't know who the fuck this piece of shit was, never met her in my life. What I noticed is that this girl noticed me, but I didn't even give a fuck because I got my headphones on. I'm listening to my Lil Uzi Vert, I don't give a fuck. I'm in my own world. And I noticed that this bitch is kind of watching me, trying to see if it's really me, trying to confirm if it's really me. She's like kind of hiding behind something. And I just noticed it from the corner of my eye, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm very observant. The neighborhood where I grew up, you gotta be observant around anything. You can't just be walking with your head in the clouds. And this dumbass bitch just thinks I'm a stupid ass nigga. I come to find out that this bitch who was doing that kind of little girl ass shit, you know what I'm saying, was Melody's sister.
And this behavior is definitely weird because, mind you, this is many years after high school. By this time, I already forgot who this bitch Melody was because, hey, at the end of the day, I got my own future to worry about. I'm not worried about some spoiled, entitled bitch from high school. Like, what are we even talking about? You know what I'm saying? But the behavior of a sister just lets me know that Melody was still keeping her smear campaign active many years after high school.
I link up with a third party, and I'm not necessarily disclosing who this third party is. I'm not disclosing if this third party is a man or a woman, but all I can say is that this third party is very close to people affiliated with Melody, right? And this third party person basically told me that this bitch Melody was talking smack about me for all these years in her group chat. She was saying the wildest things, you know what I'm saying? Like many years after high school, like I didn't know what the fuck I did to her, you know what I'm saying? But that's how these entitled move in life, because when they don't get what they want, they just start spazzing out for some reason.
And the things that I heard from this third party was basically that Melody was just stalking me for all these years. Like, she was making burner accounts to watch my IG story. She was getting her affiliates to watch my IG story, monitoring the girls that I follow, monitoring my homies on social media, stalking the artists that I listen to on Spotify, stalking the concerts that I go to, you know, keeping tracks of the places where I work, trying to find out where I live and stay. Basically being an obsessed stalker. If this isn't mental illness, then I actually don't know what you guys are on.
How does this third party person know about this? Because Melody's sister, she can't keep her broke ass mouth shut, and she tells all the secrets about Melody and whatever they got going on in the group chat, because I don't know, maybe there's some friction there. And the thing with a girl like Melody is she thinks everybody in her circle has her best interest.
So this girl definitely has some screws loose in her head, because what are we even talking about? This is high school. You know, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman, I'm a content creator, I'm an artist, I'm an illustrator, I'm a writer, I run a brand. I have so much things to do, and the fact that these little fuck niggas still want to bring drama in my life, I was just tired of it. Anyone in my shoes will just be tired of this bullshit narrative that these kids still got going on. I'm a grown-ass man, I deal with grown-ass people, I got grown-ass business to take care of, and I was even advised by one of my OGs just to pick up the phone and call this bitch, because what are we even talking about? This is some childish narrative from high school, and this bitch is all about drama and bullshit. She probably doesn't have anything better to do in her life.
Me and Melody, we have a little conversation on the phone, right? I'm just verifying, yo, like, is there beef? Because I don't got beef with you, I don't got smoke with you, I don't even fucking care about you, you know what I'm saying? I gotta get to these millions. Basically, the whole thing, what she was doing was, like, she was basically lying and manipulating and gaslighting and saying shit like, oh, it's not like that, I don't have beef with you and blah blah, and I wanna know who said something, blah blah blah. At the end of the day, my whole point was just killing the narrative, because what the fuck are we talking about? This is high school, you know what I'm saying? We're adults. I don't give a fuck about none of this shit, you know what I'm saying? I got to get these millions. She eventually tried to do some little girl shit, you know what I'm saying? She basically didn't necessarily grow up since high school. She was still on the type of time. She tried to, you know, trick me out of my position, and I wasn't going for that. She was just being annoying and acting like a you know what I'm saying? And I ain't going for that shit, you know what I'm saying? So I blocked her ass.
Annoying behavior, like, for instance, liking my stories to get my attention, liking my IG notes. For the first time, this was a surprise to me, but for the first time, she was posting other men on her social media trying to make me jealous. Like, this bitch has had multiple boyfriends, and she has never posted any of her boyfriends, especially not on IG. Her behavior was very, very weird around this period, because every time when I posted on IG, she also started posting on IG. I think there was a little bit of, you know, destiny swapping going on over there, you know, and I wasn't just going for it, you know. I train my discernment every time and every day, you know. All of a sudden, she started posting a darker skinned gay black guy on her Instagram. And that behavior was very new to me, because you never did this before. Mental illness is a thing that we need to take seriously, I guess. But anyways, other things that she did was also posting stories and TikToks with songs of specific rappers that I listen to. Weird behavior, if you ask me. And this behavior is weird because this girl is a huge K-pop fan. She doesn't listen to rap music. Maybe occasionally she might listen to a Meg Thee Stallion or a Doja Cat, but overall, she isn't necessarily a huge fan of the culture. Matter of fact, she actually uses the culture to appeal more to her black side. But does she claim her black side? Absolutely not. A famous example of a person doing this is someone like Drake, and she's just a huge pretender. This was also constantly deactivating and reactivating her IG. I just came to a conclusion that this just has some mental health issues, because this behavior from high school up until this day, it's just unexplainable. This has some serious mental health issues, and she definitely needs to see a therapist as soon as possible.
What happened eventually was that her parents came to my office, you know what I'm saying? You know, the office where I operate at, it's like very closed off from the city, right? You don't necessarily come to my office to buy some groceries type shit. If you come to my office, you come with a purpose. I knew who they were. These dumbass niggas. They were acting like normal ass customers. I played along and they left the office.
What made the office visit very weird was because of the fact that when I had my phone conversation with Melody, she was apparently very oblivious. She apparently didn't know anything that was going on behind the scenes. She apparently didn't know about the smear campaign. She apparently didn't know about anything that was going on or was said about me. And I confronted her on these facts, and she basically gaslighted and denied everything. You know what I'm saying? What made the office visit also weird was the fact that, according to the people that I worked with at the office, is the fact that her parents came to this office for the very first time. They have never been to this office. This office has been around for more than 15 to 20 years, you know what I'm saying? And within this same time period, when I blocked this Melody, all of a sudden, her parents arrive at this office looking for business to do. You know what I'm saying? According to the third party, you know, because I keep contact with my sources, Melody was just manipulating her parents to visit this office, and what she was basically doing was a DARVO manipulation tactic. Well, you might wonder what the DARVO manipulation tactic is. DARVO stands for Deny, Attack, Reverse Victim and Offender, a manipulation tactic used by preparators to evade accountability and shift blame onto their victims. So what Melody was basically doing, everything that I'm accusing Melody of doing or saying that she did to me, she said that I was doing that to her. So basically, she manipulated their own parents and said shit like, oh, this guy is stalking me, he's harassing me, he's liking all my IG notes, liking all my stories, and he can't leave me alone. He started this smear campaign against me, and her parents are so dumb enough to believe her own stupid ass daughter to actually go on a dummy mission and visit my office, not knowing that they have basically just started a war. Mind you, this is all because I blocked this bitch Melody, and I didn't want to do anything with this psycho ass bitch in my life again.
These niggas don't know me. These niggas don't know if I'm gang affiliated. These niggas don't know if I'm street affiliated. These niggas don't know me. And I'm not necessarily saying I'm gang affiliated or anything. These niggas don't know if I got people in the back trying to do something that's very illegal. I'm just saying. But these niggas don't know me. So they're trying to leave a message like, we know where you're at. We can find you. We can get you whenever we want. These niggas weren't on that type of time. These niggas are civilians. These niggas aren't street niggas, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not necessarily saying that I'm a street nigga. I'm just saying these niggas aren't street niggas. These niggas is cowards, you know what I'm saying? These niggas ain't gonna do shit. Ass niggas. And you know, the thing with people like Melody, right? I've kind of did a psychological profile on her. And what I've noticed with her, or with individuals like her, when I just look at her social media presence, all she does is complain about men. She's particularly a very huge fan of SZA and, Meg Thee Stallion and Summer Walker. And, the thing with SZA and Meg Thee Stallion and Summer Walker is these three are black women, you know what I'm saying? Melody isn't necessarily a black woman. Like, she doesn't, to my knowledge, doesn't claim her black side at all. Even though she got a black dad, she leans more to her Asian side, you know what I'm saying? She doesn't necessarily claim her black side. She uplifts a lot of Asian men. That's what I've been seeing on her social media. She is a huge fan of K-pop, and apparently also a huge fan, like I said, of SZA, Meg Thee Stallion, and Summer Walker, and all these type of girls, you know what I'm saying? And what do SZA, Meg Thee Stallion, and Summer Walker all got in common? Or to be specific, SZA and Summer Walker? Well, SZA and Summer Walker always complain about men, you know what I'm saying? Like, these type of chicks, they be making that toxic girl music, and they complain about men and the men that they did them dirty, right? And they don't necessarily talk about men, they talk in specific about black men. And judging Melody, right, who has an Asian fetish, she constantly uplifts Asian men. She is a huge fan of this type of music. She complains about men. I'm just wondering what type of man Melody is complaining about, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you complaining about the Asian men that you uplift, or are you complaining about another type of man? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm going with this? Because through my experience, Melody was nothing more than a bully, you know what I'm saying? And with bully, I don't necessarily the standard American bully like, oh, give me your lunch money, nerd. I'ma give you a wedgie. Out of the way, nerd. You make my homework, nerd. I'm not talking about that type of bully. I'm talking about, the kind of psychopaths, you know what I'm saying? Sociopaths who don't necessarily have any empathy. People who are, there's something wrong in their brains. They have some mental issue or trauma going on. You know where I'm going with this? Your past boyfriends aren't black. Most of them are Asian or have something Asian in them. I'm just kind of feeling racism on this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't claim your black side, and it just seems like you're lashing out all your frustrations and your mental health issues against, which I would say, black men. Hey, maybe you're just mad at your dad, you know what I'm saying? Maybe your dad was a deadbeat ass nigga and he didn't necessarily do something in your childhood and you're still mad about it. So you gotta lash out on all these black men in the world or whatever. I don't know, it's just something I just noticed with this bit. But anyways, I just want to get this shit off my chest, man, because, a young nigga just needs to vent, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I ain't scared of none of these niggas, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, for instance, her mom looks like a leprechaun. Short ass bitch. Like, this bitch is probably even shorter than Lil Uzi Vert. This bitch, scary ass bitch, you know what I'm saying? Like, she sends her own parents to a dummy mission. This bitch is she looks like skeletons. She looks like Brooke for One Piece. She doesn't eat. I just think she's broke as fuck. She can't afford food, I guess. This bitch needs to stop worrying about young niggas like me and start eating more food. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't worry about young niggas like me. I'm doing my thing. I'm getting to these millions. You need to worry about just eating your food. You know what I'm saying? You skinny ass bitch. If there's an issue, you know where to find me at, nigga.
At the end of the day, what is the moral and the message of this story? Well, the message of the story is kind of basically explaining how dangerous pretty privilege actually is. Because if I was a dumbass nigga, I could have easily went to jail. There are a lot of people in our society, in this world, who suffer from pretty privilege, who suffer from manipulation, who suffer from people just basically doing them dirty. And not everybody has the composure like me to stay stoic in these type of situations. This is why we always hear these stories about just people getting killed and parents crying on the news like, oh, such and such was such a sweet person and they did nothing wrong. Well, you don't know that because we have people in society walking with masks, doing very covert things and being bullies, and you just don't know the full story of certain situations. Because if the roles were reversed, if I did what Melody did, I would have been arrested, I wouldn't get no job, I wouldn't get no opportunities, and this is why men, specifically darker skinned men, get kicked out of society. They end up on the streets, or they end up in prison, or they end up dead. Because they feel so misunderstood and there's nobody who wants to hear their story. And that is why pretty privilege is so dangerous, and we need to be more aware of this type of situations. And if we don't expose these type of people, we have another Jody Arias walking around in this society, and we need to do anything in our power to prevent that from happening. Because think about it, if it was a girl who would look like Doechii, she would have already been held accountable. If a girl like Ari Lennox did exactly what Melody did, she would have already been held accountable. If it was Scarlett, she would have been held accountable. If Melody looked exactly like No Name, she would have been held accountable to the max. This episode is also made with the mission to spread awareness for darker skinned women who always receive the short end of the stick compared to lighter skinned women. You know what I'm saying? Not only was this situation a very traumatic experience, but there are a lot of kids, and especially black boys, walking around with mental health issues because of women like this. I just happen to be building a platform for myself and utilizing my talents for the good. Other black boys just go into the streets and become gang members, and eventually use that trauma to hurt people. And I constantly talk about people wearing masks and trying to fool an audience, right? Well, take a look at David. David is literally accused of grooming a minor, right? And what do people like David and Melody have in common? Well, David and Melody both have an unhealthy obsession with Hello Kitty.
All I'm saying is this: we gotta be aware of these manipulative people. We gotta be aware of these racists, you know what I'm saying? These closet racist ass people. And we just gotta be aware of these weirdos, because eventually if you don't, you're gonna get tricked out of your position. Anyways, you guys know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to cop the merchandise, you know what I'm saying? Coach Editorial, if you want to be lit like me, you know what to do, man. Read the blog, follow me on all social media platforms. And yeah, I'm out this bit. Peace.